Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Children's Worship. Thank you for being here with us today. As you can see, we have our desert box out today. If you don't know what the desert box is, you will wait and see. How I wish you were here with us, that you could touch the sand and play in the box the way that I know we love to do when we're all together. So even though we're not all together, we're going to get started, and you can turn on your candle if you have it from your bag from last week. I will turn both candles on. These candles are to remind us of two things. One is that God is always with us and that He calls us to be the light of the world. Now, in our story today, we have a family who sees and is promised that God is always going to be with them. And this family moves around a lot. So I'm going to get right started with our story so you can hear it. But I want you to think about how important that information is for this family, that God is always with them, while you listen to the story. This is the desert box. Inside is a small piece of the desert. So many important things happen in the desert that we just have to have a small piece of it in our room. The desert is a strange and wild place. At night, it is very cold, but in the day, it is burning hot. There is almost no water at all. The desert is always changing. The wind comes and it blows. It shapes and molds so that the desert is never the same. Once Abram and Sarai lived in the beautiful city of Haran. The one true God loved Abram and Sarai. One day, God said to them, "Move from your home. I will give you a new home and a new land. It's all right to go. I will be with you, and I will bless you. And I will make you a blessing." Abram and Sarai looked across the desert. It would be sad to leave their home and their friends. They wondered if they would be safe. Would God be with them? Abram and Sarah went. They trusted the one true God to show them the way. They came to Shechem in the land of Canaan. God had been with them in Haran, but would God be here too? Then God said to them, look at all this land. I will give this land to your children." Abram and Sarai were so happy that God was with them. They couldn't help but give thanks to God. So they built a special place, an altar, and prayed their thanks to God. Then they moved on to a place near Bethel. And God was there too. Abram and Sarai were so happy that God was with them, they couldn't help but give thanks to God. So they built an altar here and prayed their thanks. Then there came a great famine, And so there was not enough food to eat. They were very hungry. So Abram and Sarai moved to the land of Egypt for food. Abram was scared. He was scared of the people in Egypt. He forgot that God had promised to be with him. But God did not forget. God kept Abram and Sarai safe. The Egyptians were good to them and gave them food and animals. Abram and Sarai moved back to the land of Canaan, the land God had promised to give them, to a place called Hebron. Abram and Sarai wondered if God would be here too. God had been with them in Haran and in Shechem and near Bethel and in Egypt. Would God be in Hebron too? Then God said to them, I will give you many children to live in this land. Abram and Sarai were so happy that God was with them that they couldn't help but give thanks to God. So they built an altar and prayed their thanks to the one true God who was with them. Now Abram and Sarai knew that the one true God who spoke to them and showed them the way was in every place and in every time, just as God promised. All right, children. Well, in our story today, we have the very beginning story of Abraham and Sarah, two very important figures in the Bible. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to hear more about their story. If you go into your craft bag, little goodie bag that I sent home with you all, you are going to find a bag that has a bunch of stuff in it. That's the bag that you need for your craft today. And you will see it has a coloring sheet. I actually love this craft, it's very fun. It has an envelope for you to glue on the back as the back of a camel. And then there's a bunch of things that you can cut out and put in there. This story is all about Abram and Sarai moving. So these are all the things that they had to pick up and put in and pack up with them and move along as they went and went and went. And so this is a fun little craft that you can practice doing and practice moving them as you retell this story. There's a word up here that I want you to look at and I want you to say with me. It's the word trust. One of the biggest things that they learned in this story, or that we learn in this story, is that they can trust God. And we can trust God too. Sometimes things are a little scary and the things that we might be going through in life are hard. But if we trust in God, He always has a plan for us and He's always going to be with us. Just like our candle reminds us, and just like what happened in this story. So when we learn to trust in God, it might not make things any easier, but it gives us hope and it gives us the knowledge that we're not alone. So with that, I'm going to close us in prayer. At the end, we're going to say the prayer that Jesus taught us, which is the Lord's Prayer. So if you remember it, go ahead and you can say it with me when we start to say it. And if you don't remember it, you can just listen to it, and that's fine too. Dear God, thank you for teaching us the stories in the Bible. Thank you for always being there for us. Help us to remember that and to always trust in you. Now we're going to say the prayer that Jesus taught. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.